The first step, as specified by the DVD that comes with the kit, is the assembly of the motors. Note the tools that are supplied, and underneath the first layer we have multiple parts bags with labels. The motors, and the mounting board. We will remove the contents of the aluminum blocks from the bag and the nuts and bolts from the bag. We've got our 4 motors laid out. We've got our tools handy here, and then in the bag we've got 2 acrylic plates. Remove the acrylic plate A that does not have the additional square hole in it. This version of A has the square or rectangular additional hole that we'll be using later. Set that aside. I have chosen to remove the protective cover off of this side of the acrylic plate. It appears to be symmetrical, so you can go ahead and mount the motors on whichever side you choose. I have set up a visual layout of the bolts with the heads towards the outside, the nuts towards the inside, the aluminum blocks placed on the inside, and also make a note that any one of these motors can be used in any one of the locations. For example, this one could be moved here, or here, or here. Just note that the wires need to go towards the inside, and the actual motor units need to go towards the front or towards the back, away from each other, and the gearboxes, this section, needs to be towards the middle, towards each other. With 3 of the motor units attached, they're installed as follows. I have elected not to peel the protective backing off of the bottom of the black acrylic. We'll slide the bolts through the bottom towards the aluminum block. It's always a good recommendation to start any threaded device by hand. Once it's started, you can continue tightening it with the tool to avoid cross-threading by using the tool only. By starting it by hand, you will avoid cross-threading it. Also note that these motor units should be in line as best possible to the edge of the acrylic block. This will help the car track appropriate, and alignment adjustments can be made by loosening these screws later. We need to install the L298N module using the screws from the bag that says L298N module. Next, look for the package of nuts and bolts for line tracking modules. We have the 3 line tracking modules that we will be mounting on the front of the black acrylic plate. The 3 line tracking modules are numbered 3, 2, and 1, with 1 being installed on this side, 2 being in the middle, and 3 being on my left. Note that these brass colored standoffs on this side of the circuit board and the nuts on the component side of the circuit board. Once these standoffs are installed, 2 nut drivers, a nut driver and a wrench, or a socket and a wrench, or a combination of the above, should be used to just snugly tighten the nut onto the brass standoff. Please double check that this is module 1, this is line tracking module 2, and this is line tracking module 3. Place the bolt through the hole. And screw it into the standoff, starting it by hand. And just like the motor driver units, you do not necessarily need to tighten these, because what you'll want to do is make sure that all 3 are lined up parallel to each other, and then proceed to tighten them down. So just like these motor units, there is alignment that is necessary for these modules. Once you're satisfied with the alignment of the modules, go ahead and use your hex driver or your Allen wrench to tighten the 3 line tracking modules down.